Welcome. Your ship will arrive momentarily. In the meantime, we ask that you secure any delicate cargo, such as children or immature individuals, in the loading bay. Loose items like fragile egos, endless mental chatter, political fantasy, and religious dogma are prohibited. As we prepare for departure, please be advised that the challenges this mission holds offer particularly significant risks to the mind, heart, and will of the explorer, and the odds of survival as you know them are extremely low. Your bravery in the face of this great adversity inspires us all.
I'm trying to save you and your family's life. I'm giving you a choice. Either put on these glasses or start eating that trash can.
We are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Are you ready to free your mind from those silly-ass chains? Well, buckle up, friends, because you are watching the baddest show in the Milky Way. Take aim or take cover while we annihilate ignorance, deception, and slavery in all its forms. Welcome to the Holy Warship Podcast.
You're not getting away from the long arm of natural law.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2, live stream 2 of the Holy Warship Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Butler. Super excited to be here tonight. We're going to be getting into the takeover. Going to be taking a look at all of the OG technology that many people don't understand as technology, and how far it goes back. Pretty excited to get into this. So yeah, let's move on along. If you're someone who is new to this information, it is just going to be mind blowing, and I'm glad to have everyone here to tune in. Because there's going to be not many shows talking about this type of stuff. So I'd like to thank the One Great Work Network for allowing me to stand side beside them and share my content on their network. It is a privilege to join them. And so anyone can go check out the One Great Work Network, check out all the creators, and see all of the awesome content creators on the network. Everyone here on this network truly understands the dynamic of consciousness and how it plays into the world. And we're going to be getting into the technology of consciousness today. I'd like to give a shout out to Will Keller. Thank you, Will. This guy right here. Awesome dude. And he is producing today on the One Great Work Network. So, yep. Thank you, Will. And I would like to ask everyone to watch my presentation, Everything You Should Already Know. It is a hard-hitting, fast-paced presentation, which explains so much of the dynamics of consciousness, of how we're here and how humanity got here. Where do we come from? Where are we going? All of this stuff. And we get into things that, you might not really expect when you're talking about like history or consciousness, manifestation, the real secrets to manifestation, secret societies and the occult. So all of that stuff, super, super good stuff, and it'll help you understand where this stream is coming from. And so you think, oh wow, this guy's kind of crazy, but no, I have a lot of research and a lifetime's worth of experience that I'm actually packing into this presentation. So go ahead and check that out. You will not regret it. So a warning is that this show is for mature audiences, and spare the children from listening to this. This is for people who are mature and can listen to information without just accepting it or denying it and rejecting it. This is for this live stream is going to be more about hanging out with you guys, hanging out with the viewers. If you would like to ask any questions or leave a comment or tell me, what you think about certain things, leave a comment on Rumble, Kick, or Twitch. That is where I can see them easily. You can also comment on the Twitter stream. Sometimes that's a little harder to get to. But yeah, so mature people, if you're down to hang out and just learn some new information and think about things a little differently, there is no better place than here. So stable people, this, like I say, this information can be foundationally unsettling to a lot of people. And so just, take a deep breath, kick back, relax, listen, keep an open mind. And you won't regret it, because you're not going to find a lot of this information in many other places. My stream, and then the One Great Work Network. Go check it out. So I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I say things that can be incorrect sometimes. I like to talk shit sometimes. I make jokes. And I just, I'm not a perfect person, and so don't expect perfection when you're here. We're all here, and I'm trying to make this live stream a little more fun and lively, because sometimes I get caught up in Mr. Serious Face, and it's not really beneficial, and things don't flow naturally. So if you're down to hang out with just, a regular dude, then that's what we're here to do. So humanity is late. This is where I get my pressing aggression and sometimes a cynical outlook, is because I think most people could use a swift kick in the rear end to speed things up and speed up the progression of consciousness. So humanity is late. We need to catch up. That's what the Warship is here to do. We're here to get you in line and educate people on what they need to know and how we need to actually have an effect in this planet, and how we can actually, the first episode, if you go back, was about the Golden Age. I do think that the Golden Age is something that, could happen, but we need a serious, swift kick in the rear end if we're going to get there. So let's get there. Disclaimer is that I don't want anyone to believe me. You do your own research, and, that's essentially how we're going to get here. Nobody likes just, believers aren't taken seriously. If you're a believer, you're not scientific. You are not, you need to verify things and, just check things out yourself. So don't believe me. I don't want anyone just believing me. And if you want to hang out and comment some of your knowledge in the comments, go ahead and do that. I want to have conversations with people who are critical thinkers and have taken time to accumulate their own research. And that's who I like to hang out with, are people who think critically, have original thoughts. Yeah. So you make your own choices. Everyone here is a human being. Well, there's probably a lot of bots here listening to. They don't make their own choices. But if you make your own choices and you're listening and you're here hanging out, you make your own choices. I'm not responsible for you. And I stand against violence. I do not promote anything violent. I do agree with self-defense and everyone protecting themselves, standing up for themselves. And that's what I'm here to do. And I'm here to help inspire other people to stand up for themselves and to not, take it all lying down. Everyone should be, raising their voice and standing up against violence. And standing for self-defense. So that's my disclaimer. Don't mince my words. Some of this information is going to be mind-boggling, and you can think, what you're saying essentially is that, we need violence, or we need some type of, physical aggression or manifestation of aggression. No, not really. I do believe in self-defense, and you can take that as far as you want to take it. But I do stand against violence, and I always will. So this live stream is called the Tech Over, and we are going to be getting into the OG technology. This is going to be pretty awesome because I'm going to be simplifying so many metaphysical and spiritual concepts into technological jargon. So you're not going to find this anywhere else. Well, a couple people, I always say I love the One Great Work Network. Go check it out. It's badass, and these people really, they get it. They're doing their best to push the envelope, and the technology, it goes so much deeper, and we're gonna get into that. So thanks for hanging out, and let's get into the OG technology. So mind is the OG technology. Everyone knows that our minds are extremely powerful. And mind also transcends us. It doesn't start and begin with human beings. Mind is the fundamental non-local intelligence from which all consciousness and reality arise. Mind manages, directs, and shapes the infinite field of consciousness into a form that is orderly and understandable. So think about this. Think about this from a metaphysical standpoint. Mind manages, directs, and shapes the infinite field of consciousness into a form that is orderly and understandable. There would be nothing orderly and understandable in the universe unless there was a managing force, an orderly, organizing force. This has been called many things. It has been called mind. What we can also call it is programming. There is a program. There is a firmware running. All of the hardware we see, the physical material, it starts with mind, right? So without mind, consciousness, therefore reality, could not take any form or structure anywhere in the universe, whether in a human brain or in the cosmos. Mind is the organizing factor of every structure. They talked about in the beginning, the world was formless and void. It was chaos swirling in the deep. And then the God moved upon the face of the waters and created order, right? Separated the firmaments. This is mind. Mind moves upon the consciousness, creating form and creating structure. So you can't see, if you see structure, you see organization, it has a cause, right? And that cause is mind. Mind is self-programming. It learns, adapts, and changes its patterns through experience and intentional focus. You can think of, a little one learning how to walk. They're not sitting down and, thinking about it. It's a growth of learning, self-programming. They program themselves with their will, right? It's interactive. It responds to internal and external stimuli. In this case, we're talking about the external mind. So the external mind is constantly adjusting, right? So every decision, everything that you do that interacts with the world in a meaningful and impactful way, it interacts with the external environment, and then the events of reality get shifted around according to what takes place. So over time, it grows, refines itself, and reaches higher states of awareness through knowledge and experience. So a mind is the evolution that we see, and we'll get to time, but the evolution that we see in the world, what we call evolution, is just the organization of mind, moving consciousness into higher states, or less, getting rid of other states of consciousness. When things de-evolve, mind is removing the grip of the organization, but it does it for a reason. It makes way for things. The chaos is making a way for a more advanced consciousness, right? So consciousness is the active, unstructured, infinite potential of mind, the underlying field from which all energy, light, and matter emerge. This goes so deep. This goes so deep because it's not just about consciousness, right? We think of consciousness as inside our heads. most people, when they think of consciousness, that's what they're thinking. But consciousness is the material of everything. That's why, it started with germs. They found out cells, right? They found out bacteria and viruses. Then they found out atoms, and they're constantly zooming in. Science is constantly zooming in with the microscope to find smaller pieces. But the pieces just keep getting smaller, right? Now we're into quantum and quarks, finally starting to hint at some conscious reasoning behind things, right? So consciousness is the material that science is talking about. When they talk about the material science, right, with the empirical measurement tools and all of that, they're actually studying science or studying consciousness, and they're just trying to call it matter. And there's reasons for that, but anyway. So consciousness is the universal information field, an expression of mind, quantumly entangled with every particle, wave, or potential state in the universe. So think about that. The information field. Consciousness is the field of information, and it's all intertangled with themselves. It's one thing. It's holistic. It's the expression, the all-knowing mind, right? That's why we have this eye here. It's all-knowing. It's the storage facility of the universe, is consciousness. It knows all. It's always present. Omnipotent, right? All-knowing. Consciousness operating through mind functions from the past forward, from the future backward, and from the present in both directions. This is a fascinating detail. And, they're just now starting to talk about this in all of the different fields of study. And to truly understand this is really insane. It's really mind-boggling, because consciousness exists, and it exists as a whole. The infinite void, right? It's the infinite womb that everything exists in and occurs in. So everything is accounted for. So everything is already known as potential. Consciousness is the infinite potential, right? And mind, excuse me, and mind is the, surfboard that rides the wave all throughout consciousness. So we think of people sharing dreams, or having, visiting people in the same dream, and they go, "Oh, I had the same dream. We were there together." Science, the real true science knows this, and that's what consciousness is. It's the field which all things exist in. There's no escaping consciousness. So it operates through all points. So as mind moves upon and organizes consciousness, it produces and changes energy, vibration, and form in the material world. So when we're calling and talking about things that are material, what they are is this consciousness. It's hard to think about, because consciousness, we see it as something non-material. But what makes it material is mind. And mind organizes this field of consciousness, condenses it, or evaporates it, right? And so that's what we're talking about when we're looking at the material world, is we're talking about consciousness. And it always has been consciousness. They break things down into matter because, matter can be touched and smelt. It's a very materialistic view of things, and it isolates your consciousness into one frame of mind. So the change from one perception to another is time. So that's what time is. That's how we observe time. We can only observe time through change of perception, right? And time is the result of consciousness evolving. So time is consciousness changing states and form, right? We watch a plant. If you watch a plant, a plant is an expression of mind. a mind moving upon consciousness and organizing energy fields and creating new energy fields, right? And shaping it. So we watch a plant grow, the seed sprouts, and we're just observing it, and moments pass. What we call time and moments actually all exist in this field of potential. And we're only witnessing different perceptions and an ongoing perception which changes. Okay? So when you start to understand this stuff and think about it, it gets really deep in how far consciousness goes, right? So the brain and body. What is the brain and body? So the brain can be considered the quantum hardware interface by which mind can simulate an experience of consciousness separate from itself. This has been called the microcosm or monad. So if anyone has any questions or comments, please hit it up in the chat. You can comment on Rumble, Twitch, Kick, all of these things. If you like this information and you think it's pretty cool and the way that things are and the way that I'm explaining things, please consider donating and visiting my links. Donations would really, really help me keep this show on the road. And my streaming methods might change because streaming to many places at once is a little expensive. And, so we're starting to make budget cuts here on the Warship, okay? It's not easy to do all this, so please, anyone out there, consider checking out this link. You can find it through this link in the bio. Go down to donate, but you can get all the links, and it is super helpful. All right, back to the good stuff. So this body and brain, because the body is the part of your brain, we always want to slice things down. Where, the modern science is wanting to slice things down into these small little chunks. And that's not how the universe works. It's not how consciousness works, right? So our bodies are entangled and you can't actually separate it, right? We're a mirror. Since we're the microcosm, we're a reflection of the true consciousness and the creation and the creator, right? Because mind is the source. There could be no anything without it having something to organize it, because nothing would evolve from nothing, right? That's the whole thing about the Big Bang, is you can't get something from nothing, right? There's a first cause. You have to go step by step in this philosophy and understand the natural laws which, exist pre-existing to matter and anything, right? So this we are a culmination. Humanity is I always say this, and humanity is important. Humanity is important in the sense that we have a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Why do eyeballs exist? To see. Why does sunlight exist? Light, warmth, right? All of these things, nothing could, and you can get, I think, what is that? No. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Field of philosophy, where you interpret, things having meaning and importance. Things have meaning and things have importance, and humans are important in this regard, because if we weren't important, the universe wouldn't have created us. We wouldn't have bubbled up from the universe if what we serve and what we do is not important, in the grand scheme of things. And you could zoom out, you could get really, you can get pretty, what's the word? Not nihilistic or cynical about the whole deal if you really wanted to. But essentially, humanity is really important, and we need to start recognizing that and taking responsibility for our actions. So anyways, let's get back to the technology. Our brain is the interface that allows the operator to access information beyond physics, time, and space. It's the original tool for telepathy, time travel, interdimensional access, and weaponry. So Here's what the true reality is, that humans are a quantum interface between the universal consciousness and an experience of matter, an experience of separation, and the true knowledge of this is that you can already time travel, you can already interdimensionally travel, you can already communicate without words. We already have these innately within us. The trick is to get everyone to believe that, oh, you need a weapon, I'm not saying that the physical body is nothing. Weapons are important for self-defense, I do agree, and protection. But the powers that be, everyone that tells you matter is the end all be all, and when you die there's nothing and it's just blackness, and it's like they don't even understand anything about anything. But if you're one of those people, join me. I would like to be able to start bringing people on. What I can do is, if you're someone who wants to jump on later on, then after the presentation's done, we should all hang out, and it would be cool to get some people on. I'm gonna hopefully invite some other people from the One Great Work Network on here, because they're the homies, and it's great to have people that really know their stuff. And so so the brain and body, when you study like the chakra system or the body, I mean, your heart is what is it? It's like 5,000 times more powerful than brain waves or something like that. It's our heart as a magnetic force is so powerful, but you'll never know that if you don't understand consciousness and the technology in which we live in. So let's get into God and man. So this is the OG technological trinity, right? So this is pretty easy to understand when you take it and understand that mind, consciousness, and matter are the original trinities of the universe, of God. God is mind, right? The universe is mental. This is why this symbol is so important. This is why this symbol goes back, the triangle, and the all-seeing eye goes back so far. Because mind and consciousness is the great mother and father, right? Consciousness is the field, the flowing potential, and the womb which swirls with energy, and that mind moves upon. And you have the one and the zero, the nothing, the void, unorganization, unawareness. But well, I guess it's both. Consciousness is both. However, so the zero and the one, right? That's what it comes down to. We all talk about coding, ones and zeros, right? It's all ones and zeros. Well, mind, the father, the phallic, impregnates the womb, right? And then after that, the results, the manifestation, the word, the logos manifest is matter. So we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. And this is extremely powerful when you break it down. So when you just see it this way, it's really simple. It's really simple to see it this way, right? So mind is the programming. It's the software which takes the data and makes it observable. It organizes it and sends it to the screen and hardware. So if you think about it this way, if you have a thought, right? That thought is consciousness beaming down, but a thought isn't really... If you speak English or you speak Spanish or you speak German, what mind is doing is taking one energy field of consciousness and translating it and organizing it into English or into Spanish. So, I mean, even you hearing my voice, I'm speaking in English, and the words that I'm speaking, you have to re-put together and mesh with your meaning system. Your mind has to consolidate this field and this, swirling matrix of consciousness and put it into a form that makes sense. So this is how the universe works, and you have thoughts, emotions, and actions, right? So consciousness we always think consciousness, a lot of times, if if it's not expressing itself in mind and thoughts, right? You have the feminine. And this is when, we often think of, anger or frustration or emotion as being chaotic. And so these are manifestations of consciousness that are transcending, and they have a lower frequency than mind would, right? Because they're more physical, they're more embodied, right? So that's consciousness expressing itself in a more chaotic, I guess, way, right? Okay, so magic in science. Magic was the OG sciences. This is crucial to remember, is that everyone thinks of magic as being silly. It's just you know, it's just playing pretend, right? That's what a lot of people do. If you're intelligent, you probably don't think that. You probably have a better understanding. So, magic was a way to align consciousness into a field that is more aligned with nature. And if you're trying to get something out of this world, if you're trying to, in the ancients, when it comes to survival, in like the prehistoric world, when it comes to survival, they desperately wanted to align with natural law and the laws of nature. So they were trying to figure out all types of things, and they knew that consciousness operated in all places and times. You know, consciousness transcended the physical world that they lived in. And, this is all getting proved this day and age. So, yeah. So the correlation, early man found the correlation between thoughts, things, feelings, and intentions that time and space had no effect on. So they knew that there was a quantum layer of reality. They knew that there was a source where the sun came from, and the plants that grew from the water and the sun. They were all connected to everything. They viewed science as a holistic, or they viewed magic as a holistic practice of integration with nature. And this is where humanity should actually be studying, is what is magic? What are the laws of nature? How do we align with them? How, because I'll tell you what, humanity desperately needs to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I'll tell you that. And that's, stage magic, and a little different than what I'm talking about. But metaphorically, we really need to start kicking, right? So early man's intuition and scientific revelation were more holistically scientific than almost any science of today. These people were watching planets, trying to measure the influence of the planets. They relied on the moon for with its cyclical nature, and they monitored. These people, the original science, the magicians of the prehistoric world. It was a whole hell of a lot more scientific in certain regards than the science today. So where modern science dissects reality into fragmented parts, ancient magic understood the holistic, unified field of consciousness and energy, proving itself not primitive, but advanced beyond today's reductionist model. So magic, capital M, is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. So will is the uppercase W, meaning the will of creation. This is the will of the universe, the will of natural law, the will of mind, right? So keep that in mind. Alrighty. Okay, so part 2 is technomancy. Anyone out there, feel free to leave a comment or ask any questions. I'd be glad to hang out and talk. Anyone watching on Rumble, Kick, or Twitch, let's hang out and yeah, Let me know what you think about this information. Uh, yeah. So technomancy is the practice of using technology as a medium for sorcery, magical influence, divination, or domination. We all know that science or technology is being used for these things, right? We all know that there is what technology hasn't been used for manipulation or domination, right? It's like if you can think of a science or a technology that exists, oh, it's been it's been wielded that way as a weapon, right? Not always bad. Technology can be used for great things. You know, I'm using it to talk to, as many people as I can, and anyone can tune in from any parts of the world, right? That's pretty badass, and that is something to think about. And so, anyone out there, if you want to know how to change the world, get your head right, learn natural law, and learn how to upload a video or live stream. If you seriously want to upgrade your magical skill sets, right, and influence and change the world for good, technology is how you do it, dude. Technology is the bee's knees, as long as it is getting programmed with holistically intelligent people and being used for holistically intelligent purposes. So the severing, we're talking about the ancients, right? We were just talking about how the old magicians, the magicians of old, were really in tune with nature and they loved nature, right? And so this next slide, as you can tell, is about the severing. And it wasn't as slow as people think. At some point in time, humanity drastically abandoned a lot of principled beliefs. And many people have theories of how that happened. And I'm not saying that I believe any specific theory. Did the gods come down and did they enslave us? Did they interfere with our evolution? Did they come down and, enslave us? I want to spend a minute here because this is the fun live stream. If you want to check out things a little more orderly and concise, check out the podcast version of this presentation. It went up yesterday. It was a live stream, but this is where we get to have fun, right? So do you think that, because I could go either way. So this is the fun part, is that what happened back in the ancient days, and sometimes I lean towards, ancient astronauts or some entity, something interfered with our connection to nature. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the disconnection with nature. But anyone out there listening, if you're watching, if you're out there on Twitter or Kick or Rumble or Twitch, let me know. Let me know if you have any theories about what the hell took place. Because humanity did, what's it called? They switched up, right? Humanity is like they turned into the rat. They were OG. They were part of the, the natural law tribe. And then they were like then they went into the city and they were like, oh, they're hiding out in the trees over there. Oh, go get them. Go get the bad guys. Go get the witches and magicians, right? and so let's get into this deeper. So you have the younger Dryas. You have the younger Dryas impact hypothesis, okay? And The Younger Dryas impact, this was around the same time. After this, humanity really gets, and look at how they look at Wikipedia really is talking some shit on anyone doing this research. But the Younger Dryas, immediately, you know, after this period, humanity actually started fighting and warring. There's no prehistoric evidence that there was ongoing battles and fights. There was some cannibalism that happened in some caves, some maybe some hostages, maybe some instances. But after this severing of consciousness, the cord was severed, right? Between the true consciousness and the true divine uh, emanation from which all things come from. The cord was cut drastically because we turned into little rats after this, and we started 12,900 years ago. Let me see. It was Jebel. We're gonna get into it. So Jebel Sahaba. So in interpersonal violence in the late Pleistocene. I always get those things messed up. So 1601 individuals. This is one of the earliest cases of warfare, right? And this is ongoing warfare, and they can guess that because they had all of the remains that they found and the wounds. They had ongoing. They had healed and unhealed wounds, like they had been warring, right? And so this is one of the first cases where you actually see warfare. You get another case of warfare with I always forget the names of these things. So what else is it? We're gonna find it here. Okay, so let's get into it. It was um okay, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it. Um the prehistoric warfare. Let's see. There it is. Hamakar. I don't know how to pronounce that. So you have here. This is getting into, what is it? A bandit about. They were attacked. Oh, it was Is that it? Oh, alrighty. So anyone in the chat, if you can find me an instance of warfare that occurred, if you can, am I sharing my screen? Recent screen. So if anyone can find like a serious example of warfare before this, if anyone can find that, um, you know, a serious example where it's like obviously warfare, you know, um, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong, please. But as far as I can tell, something happened where humanity said, nope, we're not going to barter. We're not going to trade. We're going to take it from you. And so that long detour of searching, I need to have some better stuff pulled up. I'm telling you guys. Anyway, so the interesting thing is that we have all these stories of like beings and crafts and giants walking around Earth, right? The funny thing is that a lot of these prehistoric texts, they say, if you look at the flooding in Genesis, well, the gods were pissed off that humanity was just, an abomination and terrible in all things. And so then the gods flooded us, right? To rid the abominations. But if you look at any examples of floods, and there was some cataclysm that took place. So the whole interesting thing is that there was multiple cataclysmic events. Now, what they're guessing the cataclysm was about the Younger Dryas impact, or it was, the coming down of the gods. Maybe they came down sooner. Maybe they flooded us. Whatever it is, whatever your take on that is that humanity did the switch up, right? They ratted, and they were like, we're going to join for protection. And now, what do we always know? Is that the civilization, the king, the ruler, the people offering the protection are usually the ones stomping. They're usually the ones like grinding teeth. And then the next funny thing is like in these old, the Epic of Gilgamesh and all of these stories is that they say, yeah, this earth was flooded because you guys are bad, right? You're bad people. And, you better be good because, the gods flooded this earth. And so that's really kind of like, that's like the ultimate psychopathic thinking, right? Is that you deserve it. Like you got beat up because you deserve it. Something to be said about deserving to get beat up. Anyway, the whole idea with the Genesis account and the original, humanity is messed up, so God was like, oh, I'm going to stomp on you. But the funny thing is it didn't work. You only get the warfare and the slave trade and the serious examples of that after the flood and after the cataclysm. It's like, oh, I did this for your own good, get rid of you, but I'm going to let Noah survive. So there are things that don't make sense in this severing, right? There are things that don't make sense because someone knew the shit was going to get flooded. So someone knew it was going to get flooded. And then after that, that person that knew that it was going to get flooded had the good genes, right? They were chosen. And this story of Noah goes back into Sumer as Nehushtan. And Nehushtan was the one who was chosen to build the ark. And all of the main prominent details of the story are there with Nehushtan. But someone was chosen and they're favored by God and they have the good genes, right? And so it's so fishy, guys. It's so sus. It's so sus, right? It's like, oh, and so I float some of these things back and forth. And then you think of like the only people that could have read these stories and were pointing to the scrolls of like, hey, you better come into my civilization in Uruk, right? And you better come into my civilization because I'm gonna protect you. And we have the words of God. We have the tablets. It's on the books, right? It's on the stone. They were the only ones that could read that stone and the only ones that could interpret it. And the only people who could even consider, what was on there. Also, their language, it is just apparently it was just like it was so vague and so symbolic or obscure that you could interpret it however. It's like the same thing that the law codes are gets swapped out with all these different meanings, and all that stuff. So something happened, humanity switched up, and you know ever since then, things just ain't been the same. And I'm not saying things were perfect, in prehistory, but like they had technology that they were using, and then civilization comes in and makes the claim that, you know, they invented it, the gods gave it to them. Let me see if there's anything else in the severing. At this point, what else is it? So the gods came down, and the whole story goes is that the gods gave humanity the technology, right? So the interesting thing is how much of humanity in their subconscious or their will is pulling things into existence. Sometimes I wonder, like, is the collective will of humanity like our shadow, um is this what's creating real forces? Like, is the collective identity of the devil, or the boogeyman, or weapons of mass destruction, like, is all the fear and promulgation about certain things manifested? I think to some regard it does. Um anyway, so the severing happens. I think I've explained that and beat you up with that enough. So let's keep going. Humanity gets into abusing the magic, and you know basically, operate sorcerers know that perception and the universe um are malleable in a certain regard. So you can definitely trick what people think and perceive and believe. And you can also have events take place that are unnatural, right? It's like, oh, well, you have events take place like, pre-civilization, there was a flood, or, there's some type of trauma. And then you say, "Oh, I'm here to help you." And then boom, then the universe has or reorganized a little bit temporarily to fulfill your wish to influence get what you would like out of things, right? The word sorcery and word magic operates through linguistic encryption and cognitive reprogramming, where controlled vocabularies and semantic distortion limit access to high level knowledge and influence mental frameworks. So, word sorcery, I meant to put sorcery there. Word sorcery is the manipulation of others and the mental fields that other people have through language and words. So if you get a bunch of people to think that government, civilization, taxation, um, you know, vaccination, any of these words, you get the people to believe that it means one thing, but you know what it actually means. So you don't share that with people. It's just a pretty word, even though when you say vaccination, it's not equal to immunization. And when you say taxation, it really means theft. Or, you say any of these words, government, it doesn't mean protection. When you say civilization, it doesn't mean organization. So it's all about manipulating the mind. We've gotten into this. So very clear, cut and dry. This is one of the first technologies. So civilization was engineered as a control protocol using authority to reprogram human behavior. running a hierarchical access system that locks individuals into predefined compliance loops. Before computers, AI, and digital simulations, civilization itself was the first matrix, a fabricated system designed to replace natural reality with an artificial simulated construct. So, that enslaves the mind without rebellion. So, what do you think? Do you see people even questioning the premise of civilization these days? No. And, we're stuck with what we're stuck with in a certain way. But the whole thing about civilization is what they call it, is that it's not really civilized. It's all based on coercion and threats. It's not based off of free will interaction, because civilization begins with, hey, you're outside of my borders. I want more property, so I'm going to come and take that from you, and I'm going to trick my civilians into believing that you're a bad guy. It's the oldest trick in the book. And if you just read about the first kings of Sumer and Uruk, is that they said, I'm the king of the four corners of the earth, and I've been imbued with from the god Enki, and they chose me. And so come and join my civilization. And so the amazing part is that this technology goes back so far, right? And so that's pretty fascinating. Okay. So here we are. Let's keep going with another technology. And I know everyone, I'm sure there are people out there like, oh gosh, he's not even talking about UFOs. He's not even talking about, free energy. He's not even talking about any of that stuff, right? Well, when you understand the first technologies, you really start to understand the potential and what is out there. Free energy, it already exists. Everyone knows. Religion. So they stole the beliefs of the tribes and they brought it into their own culty civilization. And they took the hierarchy of consciousness and they said, "Nope, I am a king." This is how crazy. Something happened way back in the day. This is why history is so obscure and why they will attack you through and through if you try to talk about this. And that's why that slide in the Wikipedia, if you look at Younger Dryas, they throw all these digs at you for even questioning anything. So that's not very cool, right? Not very cool at all. So there was a disconnection mentally that took place. I mean, you could hardly even describe it as trauma. It's like the ultimate mind erase had to have occurred, you know, 11, or what is that? 13 to 15,000 years ago. Something took place back then that really made us switch up on each other. So, the mental framework of nature has been obfuscated. Religion is a program running in your mind, folks. It's a fucking program that is placed there to get you from ever looking beyond, from be ever pulling the curtain up behind, pulling the curtain and seeing from what's behind it. If humanity wants to move forward and grow, we have to break free from these chains that are binding us. Religion is a program, right? It's a program running. I know everyone is clinging to this hardcore. So we gotta keep this in mind. Oh, that was no fun. All right, did that switch? There we go. There it is. Pretty transition. There we go. War. I had a whole presentation. I stole some of the information from that presentation for this presentation. And warfare, the ultimate technology of warfare, is mind. The ultimate technology is thought manipulation, deception, right? Sun Tzu said all warfare is based on deception. So this means in warfare is the giving up of negotiation. Warfare is the choice, outside of the symbolic version of negotiation and warfare, right? Like Trump has the art of the deal, right? It's like the art of war. There are similarities in warfare that transition into spiritual meaning and philosophical and negotiation and just day-to-day interaction with human beings, because sometimes you have to convince people, and that's not the warfare necessarily that I'm talking about. But the warfare that I'm talking about right now is that in order to make the claim, warfare is the choice that you make when you don't want to negotiate or a deal can't be met. So that's when warfare happens. And the word war comes from confusion, or to confuse, or the path of confusion. Warfare, fair is the Latin term for, I think it's Latin or Germanic or something. The fair is a path to, or a way of. And so the war was confusion, so warfare is the path of confusion. It's the path of deception, ultimately. And so when you start to attack, and they have some lousy definitions when you go to, the Webster's and all of those different things, because warfare, the best warfare is taking over your opponent without ever firing a round, right? So war is about saying there are no rules. Everyone thinks that there are rules in this. And when true war is declared, it doesn't have to be announced. And it's saying that there are no rules. It's like the ultimate psychotic. I'm not saying that, if you're on the right side and you're in a war, that, you're not going to want to abide by certain things. However, that's not what war is. War is hell, right? That Smedley Butler, he said war is hell. Someone said war is hell. The first casualty of war, that has been said, is the truth. And I would say the second casualty of war is morality. Because there is no morality in warfare. So we all think, so government, civilization, all of these things, religion, what humanity needs to wake up and realize is that these are weapons of war. They're warfare strategies. Like, through and through. Lying is the ultimate warfare strategy. Word sorcery and word mashing, it's the ultimate form of warfare, because you're trying to get someone to deceive something or to believe something. The two ways humanity can be deceived, right? Believing something that isn't true, or denying something that is true. So this is what you want your enemy to do, is to believe things that aren't true, because then they can be confused, and then that leads them to the path of being owned and enslaved. So the police and military are execution protocols deploying coercion algorithms to enforce state-issued commands through physical and psychological control, overriding autonomy with fear-based scripting. So these units act as biomechanical access controllers, running real-time deterrence protocol to jailbreak resistance and maintain population-wide behavioral synchronization. Everyone's afraid of it. And this is why we won't get a golden age, is because we won't raise our voice. Well, You know what? I don't want to speak like that. Let me change what I just said. Let me adjust that. Humanity will not get a golden age if we accept the path of subservience and don't raise our voice, because these people, they just don't know any better. You know, morally, and maybe, they all think they're so special. Anyway, I gotta stop getting off on that, because that's just gonna drive me nuts. So anyone, if you're out there, join up, leave a comment, ask a question, please. You know, anyone, if you're up for it, it's Friday night, it's 6 o'clock. I bet a lot of people are just driving home right now. um you know just leave me a comment. You can find my link into the stream. You can get on Twitter, X, or any of these things. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. You know, it's still early. The night is young, and it's Friday. You should be feeling a little froggy, right? So I can't wait to get some other voices in here. I want to do some things that just people don't really see too often, and I'm pretty excited about that. So stick around, folks, because it's gonna get a lot more fun than this. And I like this presentation. I think it's kind of cool. I kind of translated a lot of my words into like techie stuff, so maybe it'll help people understand it a little bit. And so I'm working on getting organized and really isolating how I want to explain certain things to people and narrowing down what I like to do. Because we got to do things that we like to do. And turn your true craft, turn those things about yourself that are unique, and turn your experience into the ultimate weapon of truth. You know what I mean? Weapon for truth, right? It's like we all have experienced this heart, right? It has had a lifetime of impressions on it. And we all have so much potential inside us to fight back. And yeah, it really is amazing. So stick around. Everyone subscribe, like, follow, share the information. It seriously goes a long way. Watch the presentation, everything you should already know. This type of stuff sincerely helps me. If you go to the donate link, find any of these ways that that you find $1, send me $1, $5, whatever it is. It seriously helps. And I'm not too prideful. Like I've said this in the past, I'm not too prideful to ask for help, because I would like to do this all day long, except, we all have other things that we have to do, because, you got to make money somehow. We have to earn our freedom token somehow. And that takes me from mentally, it takes me from doing this work. And emotionally, it takes me from doing this work. So please, if you think any of this information is valuable, consider donating. Also, consider donating to the One Great Work Network, because there's just some awesome people on there. James Cordner, James Corbett. I'm probably going to butcher some of these names. But Richard Grove, Patty Logger, some awesome information on health and esoteric like medicine and stuff. Of course, the great Vinny Eastwood, Will Keller, Mark Passio, Logan Hart, Larkin Rose. You really want to wet your whistle, folks. You really want to check out some badass information. You don't have to hear the Aaron version. The Aaron flavor is kind of an acquired taste. Derek Bros, Daniel Maddox, Corey Engerlot, awesome guy. Chris Jansen, Let's see the schedule. Is the schedule still up? There we go. Check out the live stream schedule. Chris Jansen on Thursday. Wednesday's Will Keller. I think he might be on a short hiatus right now. Sunday, January through June, is going to be What on Earth is Happening? I think that might be a little postponed because of the How to Become the True Media. And the How to Become the True Media is a one-of-a-kind seminar that everyone should be thinking about joining up in. But it really is, if you're trying to get interested in technology and all this stuff, How to Become the True Media is how I got started with learning a lot of technology. I bought a good computer at the time, and it's all history from there. So go check it out. Go check out the presentation. Is that still going? Oh, it's still going. Go check out everything you should already know. Okay, let's get back into the last little while. I think we're making some good progress on the presentation. So let's get back to it. So money functions as a behavioral programming language, converting human effort, time, and morality into quantifiable data points. So humans no longer are viewing their moral upstanding with creation as valuable. What they see valuable is, how can I get that bag? How am I going to get that bag, man? So we're all trading in our soul. We're trading in our time, our energy, and our religious faculties in for a freedom token, data point. So debt acts as a ransomware exploit, trapping individuals in infinite repayment loops, while interest operates as a hidden background process, ensuring continuous value extraction. So the ransomware exploit, right? This is what it is. I'm in debt, right? Everyone's in debt. You know what's funny thing about debt is someone said that, someone said, if I owe you money, that's your problem, right? It's kind of how it is. But they will make you believe that, I'm not saying you shouldn't uphold your end of the bargain with things, but the funny thing about debt is that if you make a bad loan, if I loan someone $100 and they don't pay me back, that's my fault, right? How are you going to, sure, they have their own fault, but I willingly did that. So funny thing. Yeah. The financial system enforces a scarcity algorithm overriding ethical decision-making with self-preservation logic, turning morality into a risk assessment function. Here we go. So money is a big hot topic right now because we all know that the dollar is getting inflated. And, there are some people, like Mike Adams was talking about, Trump and the Doge dividend are going to be basically deliberately inflating the dollar or allowing it to inflate while they give people free money, the universal basic income, and that there will be a gold-backed monetary form in the future. And so that's interesting. Can anyone tell me, if anyone's out there paying attention, anyone driving home from work, anyone who, wants to kick Aaron some information, how much, you know what would be fun? Let's talk to Grok about it. Let's ask Grok how much gold the US has. Grok 3 is pretty cool. So let's check out Grok and see what Grok has to say. Let's see what Grok has to say. Wonder if it'll let me use my voice, probably. Hey Grok, how much gold does the US have? So let's see how much gold we actually have. Are they going to actually do a real currency? What do you guys think? Or a gold-backed currency? They say it would be good. The United States holds approximately 8,133 metric tons. 8,133.46 tons of gold in its reserves, making it the country with the largest gold stockpile in the world. This figure has been consistent in reports up to late 2024. They're saying they're going to do a... Are Trump and Elon Musk going to do a live stream walkthrough of Fort Knox? When can we talk to Grok and it'll talk back? I want to listen to what Grok says. There's no confirmed plan for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to do a live stream walkthrough of Fort Knox, but they've both expressed interest in checking in the gold reserves there. What if we had no gold? What if all the gold was gone? What if all the gold was gone, and how much gold does China have? What if all the gold was gone? If all the gold... No. Billy Grok. I phrased that bad. Oh, they're saying China only has 1,900 tons. China's the world's top gold producer. And it doesn't export any of it. Wait. Oh, gold stash is a bit of a mystery. People's Bank of China reports 2,000. Yeah, right. Okay, they found a bunch of gold recently. And so they don't get rid of their gold, right? So official holdings plus private and bank stocks don't match production and import sales. Some estimate China's real estate reserves could be 4,000 to 5,000 tons. Why hide it? Yeah, no shit, they want to hide it. Okay, so didn't they just find a bunch of gold? I wish Grok could talk to me. Come on, Grok. The recent gold discovery in China. In November 2024, geologists in Hunan province announced they'd uncovered a massive deposit at the Wanggu gold field in Pingjiang County. Initial estimates peg it at over 1,000 metric tons, potentially 1,100, worth around 83 billion at current prices. They found more than 40 gold veins with about 300 tons at a depth of 2,000 meters. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what if there was no gold in Fort Knox? Or like just a small fraction of what was there? Economic fallout. If Fort Knox's gold is gone or down to, say, a few hundred tons, the immediate hit would be in confidence. The U.S. boasts 8,133 tons total, with Fort Knox as the crown jewel symbolizing dollar stability. Officially, it's valued at $42 per ounce. Markets would freak out. Gold prices could spike as traders bet on scarcity. Some X posts already float $3,000 to $5,000 per ounce in a panic. The dollar might tank, especially if other nations looking at you, China, flex their gold hoards to challenge U.S. dominance. Inflation could surge as a fiat period. All right, I'm not saying that they have no gold. Anyway, I'm just saying, what if? They're talking about they wanted to go and look. So why did Trump and Musk say they wanted to go to Fort Knox and stream it? So maybe if there was no gold or something happened, or they wanted to show off. They either wanted to show off or they wanted to be like, oh, some of the gold is gone. Long-standing public skeptic. So, okay. So the funny thing, even if they did live stream it, they could totally fake it, right? They could totally do some fake space stuff, right? Like they'd fake it. They'd just be like, "Look at all our gold." It's like green boxes stacked up, and it's all just, you get Jimmy the what's his face? Mr. Beast in there. This is all of America's gold. Anyway. And they want to stream it because largely to address long-standing public skepticism and conspiracy theories about whether the U.S. gold reserves are still there. So yeah, they literally are questioning if we still even have gold, right? Trump, speaking on Air Force One February 19th, said we're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset. Oh, snap. Listen to everyone. Do you really think with all the U.S. aid, everyone getting robbed? Everyone knows it's robbery. Just now we're seeing it. It's even harder to see because we're watching it, right? It's even harder to look at because the truth is coming out. But the funny thing is, they could be like, oh, yeah. What if the gold is gone? What if we were just robbed blind, right? Like Mission Impossible style. Be pretty hardcore. But if it was really gone, do you think they would really want to disturb the markets? Nobody likes their markets disturbed, right? Do you really think they would want to disturb it? Maybe they would just do a bunch of the green boxes like Mr. Beast, and they would just make it seem like there's a bunch of gold in there. What do you think about that? Okay. So that's pretty interesting. If anyone thinks of any good questions relating to these topics that we're going to be floating through, Grok's doing pretty good, right? Like I've asked it some interesting questions. I really don't. It's definitely a bit cooler. Grok 3 is a bit cooler than ChatGPT, and so I think I might stop doing ChatGPT. I use it for some images, obviously, like the one that you're looking at right here. But really, is it worth it? I don't know. So let's get into education. So modern education is a grooming technology to get the children of Earth to a specific state of mind. They want the children to run specific programming and operating systems. So depending on the programming environment, if you get the public school, that's slave OS, right? That's the slave operating system. If you get the private elite fancy education, you get the dominator OS, right? And these are the two. This is the opposame, as David Icke likes to call things. You think you're getting the other. Oh, I'm in the Ivy League. Oh, I'm special. Really, you're special. Especially stupid. Look who's been running the country. Everyone, Ivy League. Everyone. So I'm gonna do one of these. It has to be short. Some of these things I'm gonna start making some short videos. I keep talking about it. I just need to do it because if you start looking at the University of Illinois and the different fraternities and clubs and like Harvard and Stanford, you start really understanding that those places are like the initiation. Yale started as a place where they were going to be creating priests and clergy, right? And so it all starts with like cultivating the minds of the masses. And And so look into the connection of all the Ivy League schools, and you'll understand that, Elon Musk and Donald Trump went to the same college. They both went to the University of Pennsylvania. And then you get the Princeton Club, and you get we'll go over it. I mean, it's just mind-boggling when you get into the fraternities, because those are the bloodlines, and those are the indoctrination systems that the CIA use. They I mean, they go into some nerd brainiac who, got good grades in high school, and now he's in college, he's studying physics or whatever. Whatever it is, they don't care. They go, hey, do you want to work for the CIA? You want to be a spy? You want to help us out? You want to be a secret agent, man? And they go, they never experienced any type of friction in their life. So they're like, yeah, I would love to be a secret agent, man. And so then they get blasted with propaganda and blasted with these operating systems. And you listen to Mark Andreessen, who Derek Bros just broke this down on a stream today, and Mark Andreessen was essentially sometimes I get so bored doing research. I get so bored listening to some of these people talk. Palmer Luckey, he's kind of an interesting guy, giving kill drones and everything to the government. I don't think that's very cool, but interesting guy to listen to. Where did he go to school? Anyway, so Mark Andreessen, he's like, everyone, humanity has always been dominated by a some type of a ruler, and so we're gonna be your ruler. Shout out to Derek Bros again, because he does some good research. So media functions as a behavioral exploitation framework designed to inject, execute, and maintain control over human cognitive processing by targeting low-level firmware vulnerabilities, specifically the primal fear circuits hard-coded into the biological operating system. This is why they put cheeseburgers with pretty girls on it. They do the pretty girl eating the cheeseburger, right? Or they do, what is it? I don't know. They do all the tricks in the book. I mean, they're exploiting your ape brain. They're exploiting it, and they disguise it as humor. And actually, what's funny? Look at all the commercials. Look how they portray their consumers, their customers. Look how they portray their customers. Watch television. I mean, I don't recommend that anyone subject themselves to such damaging bombings of light, but go check out the televisions. Look at these commercials, even on YouTube, but television's horrible, and you can see, like, they think so low of their customers. Like, they portray all the customers and people buying their products as like retarded apes, I swear. Like, it's actually it's really sad that people even buy some of this stuff. Like Glade, it'll be like a Glade commercial, and someone just like dragging their nose on the carpet to try to smell this Febreze refresher. It says 60 days. You can smell fresh for 60 days. Just buy our product and you can get poisoned and have your gonads destroyed for 60 days straight. And your children will all be born with horrendous, disgusting, disfigurations, but at least your house smells good, right? Yeah. So really, I mean, they're exploiting you. Everyone knows they're exploiting you. Don't watch the TV. Yeah. Science. Science. This is a great technology. Science is a great technology because It's huge trick. It's a weapon. Well, the amazing thing when you learn about civilization is that all technology can be used for bad or good. Except the thing is, they tell you these institutions are for your own good on one hand, and then on the other hand, they're making damn sure that these institutions, or that the people, the civilian class, the big cult of civilization, they make sure that all of those people are so stupid that they have to depend on other people thinking for them. So I'm technology is great. It's people that allow these institutions to operate in the way that they do. So the scientific priesthood acts as root administrators enforcing a materialist only kernel that quarantines non-physical variables like consciousness and metaphysics, ensuring reality remains a forced consensus simulation with no external plugins allowed. Civilization and all of these things are they're a program running in our minds. I would like to get into some other things. We're gonna get back to our roots, and I think in next week we're definitely going to get a little more trendy with things. Um, and we're gonna, I it's tricky because you want I want to stay relevant with some things, but you know you also have to stay principled and drag it back. I think if I put on well when I put on earlier on the test stream, when I put on the Trump news or live streams of Trump news and the Posh Patel initiation and ritual that they were floating around today. When I put that on, everyone jumped on it. Like I had people I only have a few viewers or followers on Twitter. Shout out if anyone would like to follow me on Twitter. That would be super helpful. Get on Twitter and follow me because it would be pretty cool to have more people interacting. And there you go. But when you post something silly like the rituals and Donald Trump on Air Force One, that was actually pretty funny today. I think it was today. It was at some point. He's he just totally called out one of the governors of Maine. That was pretty pretty good. But when I play that stuff, everyone goes crazy and goes nuts. So we're gonna have to do more of that. If you like this type of information and these types of presentations, these will be more for the podcasts and more of just simple, organized presentations for intellectual people. And then for those who just like to zone out and chill and smoke a joint and laugh or do whatever, I'm going to be doing the funny stuff and the the mainstream stuff too. It's got to be done. We got to get it from both ends here. So science, awesome technology for sticking people's faces in the dirt. Medicine. This is a good slide. If this text, I'm not just use kind of some generic images here, but if this doesn't describe it all, modern medicine operates as a patch-based system designed to mask the symptoms of an artificial reality framework rather than debug its root level dysfunctions. Think about that. Bam. Totally makes sense. That's the truth. Absolute truth. I've worked in the medical field, folks. I know exactly what these people are. And, we've all been around it. If you tune into your consciousness and your mind and your experience, you will verify this just through your pure existence. I've never met a person who doesn't have shitty experiences at the hospital. And it's not because, oh, they were hurt. It's because doctors and all of this institution, which, I'm glad a lot of people are getting fired from these institutions. I'll just say it. I am so glad that all these turds are getting fired because they don't know shit. And they're no better than me or you. And they're no smarter than me or you. They're actually, I used to call it, they're not just order followers, they're procedure followers. It's about procedures in here. They're about following procedures, and they kidnap people. They really do. They kidnap people. They get them hooked on all the drugs. They create drug addicts. I don't even want to get into some of my experiences because it turns my stomach, and yeah, but they get children hooked onto drugs, literally. Look at this person. Look at that little guy. Look at this one. Yep, they got the drip. They got the real cures. Yeah, that's what they do to people, really. Anyway, it's engineered as a closed-loop economic exploit. It perpetually generates new system vulnerabilities constantly. So they have a cure, they have a medicine which is meant to help treat the side effects of another medicine, and then that medicine is meant to treat another medicine, and it's sick. It really is sick. But an artificial system must require artificial cures because they can't point people out. They can't point people away from the system because you need to constantly, like it says up here, it's a patch-based system designed to mask the symptoms of an artificial reality. So the medicine is the poison that's poisoning you, and you need more of the medicine to keep it in the same momentum. This is the situation we're in. And the situation with big tech is that the solutions they are applying are only solutions from their mindset, which caused the problem. Some good coffee. Okay. If anyone's out there and likes what I'm saying, they think it's cool, they like listening, consider leaving a comment. Tell me what you think. Yeah. Come hang out on one of these streams. Come kick it with me. So, yep. I'm going to be doing this either way. I just, I'm pretty excited that, we're finally doing it, folks. We're finally doing it. Shout out to all the OGs who have helped support me and kept it positive and kept it real with me. It's awesome. Yeah, so big tech, our solutions are only going to be as good as our consciousness, So that's pretty much it. So let's get into big tech. And let's think about this a little more. So big tech and all its extremities is a global virtualization layer, replacing organic reality with an AI-governed simulation that intercepts universal data streams of consciousness and injects false input packets into human perception. You're living in a dream world, Neo. Right? No. And we're living in a dream world. And it's just wild. And I'm not saying that everyone, everyone has a perfect grip on every facet of reality. No one's all knowing. And we have to you know, the amazing beautiful thing about consciousness is that it's self-learning, and mind is self-learning, and your brain and your own consciousness of your brain rewires itself to function optimally. So that's a beautiful thing, because if you sit around and you think about the nightmare terrorism that is being perpetuated on the technological front, you probably, I mean, if our minds didn't learn how to ignore certain bits of information, I mean, our heads would explode, first off. But secondly, you couldn't leave it alone. You couldn't drop it. You wouldn't be able to spend any time with your loved ones, because you would just be so engorged with this information that, oh God, it'd be terrible. But consciousness has like an immune system, and mind there's it's like psychic self-defense. A psychic immune system is what humanity has. And this is why we're allowing these people to create weather systems, destroy the earth, um, you know, put thoughts in your head, whatever it is, voices in your head. Um, it really is wild. And when you start questioning the reality of things, you realize that you've been living in a dream world. And your mind will tell you that you're not living in a dream world, or that you're waking up, but it's just layers and layers and layers of ego. Your ego is run away, and so your consciousness is really battling your ego, and they're both it's a grind. You're wasting so much energy trying to keep your consciousness and your experience and your awareness down. So this neural hijacking protocol rewires cognitive processing to interpret artificial stimuli, social media, algorithmic narratives like artificial flavors, artificial intelligence. What is it? Everything artificial, synthetic this, synthetic that. You know, um, everything that is synthetic and fake and artificial, it is creating a construct, and it's part of a simulation that is meant to replace the true reality. And it enforces a mind control firmware that update that locks users into a synthetic thought matrix, disconnecting humanity from raw, unfiltered existence. So this, it's not that hard to think about, really. We all know that we can be tricked and bamboozled and stuff like that. But the bamboozling has been going. We've been bamboozled for millennia, like infinite bamboozles. And we're bamboozling ourselves into like crazy stuff. But like, if you were going to take over the world, what better way than to tell people that like there's an awakening, like if there's an awakening going on, right? And so, that's actually the best way to do it. It's kind of like the old what is it? It's like the alibi. Oh, you got an alibi. We're doing our best. We're trying our best. We're trying to make an awakening. I'd always, it doesn't crack me up. It's really sinister, but I think about this from time to time, and like, totally off subject, but George W. Bush, Jr., when he was reading to that classroom of children when those towers were being hit, I mean, could you think of a better alibi? Really? Could you think of a better alibi? Where were you when those towers were hit? I was reading to school children. You know? It's sick. There's there if you don't laugh, you cry, right? That's like comical. It's like if you're a super evil villain and you're trying to have an alibi. I was reading to children while that happened, so I don't have anything to do with that, right? So I think that's silly. Um so part 4 is to get out. And it's multifaceted. I kind of did a lot of word mumbo jumbo with some of these next slides. It could have been simplified. But the escape and getting out and powering through the matrix, we have to overwrite and format the old system. We have to shake it off. Some people do many different things. Ultimately, what it comes to is shaking up that rigid shit that's stuck in your brain. Do things new, do things differently, right? Um you know, go outside, you know. Go outside when you normally wouldn't have. If you wake up in the middle of the night normally, do something at that point of time that shakes it up. Like, it's all baby steps, and getting out of the true escape is doing things inch by inch. And we all want it now. A huge problem of mine is that I want to be, I want it all complete. I want it to be perfected. I want this, I want that. It all needs to be done now, and it should have been done yesterday, so I'm not happy with where I am now. And it's just a shitstorm of not good thinking. So reconnect the universal data stream. A lot of people do interesting things. We have the technology, but also the solution is not more of the big tech. It's not more of the big, the fake simulated reality. What it is it's get into nature. There are things you can do. When you eat plants, you're getting a download. Because it's all consciousness. It's all consciousness, baby. It's all consciousness. When you eat healthy foods, nutritious foods, that's nature. When you eat natural foods, when you eat those things, it's a download. It's a programming. It's telling your body and your mind, oh, I'm starting to remember, right? So things like, whatever it is, I'm not telling people what to do. Some people take psilocybin, and if you start studying natural law, supplementing with some type of psilocybin or some type of thing that shakes it up, right? It shakes up those networks that are so rigid. Do yoga. Roll around on the floor like a fish. I don't know. Do weird things. Do things that shake up your body. They activate your body and start breaking down. Our body holds on to our posture, and our body is holding on to the firmware, right? So where our mind goes, our body follows. Do things differently. It really starts there. Start thinking things differently. If you agree with everyone, if you agree with MAGA, if you agree with, the left, the liberals, or whatever it is, if you start to agree with those things, you got to consider maybe that's not where you should be. So unplug from false data streams by cutting reliance on algorithmic stimuli, social media conditioning, big tech narratives, and filtering all information through a natural law firewall, truth, morality, and free will. So what this means is Well, what is truth? What is moral? And what is free will? You have to learn these things and study natural law. You have to investigate these things, right? And you have to start filtering everything you see through these lenses. Well, when you talk about government policy, well, is it moral? Not is the policy moral, but is how they enforce the policy moral? No. Every policy by the government is at the threat of a gun or a cage. So it's not. You have to filter things. And then guess what? When you start understanding the true spiritual nature of consciousness, you realize how fiery the truth is, and how much it slices through bullshit, and how much it separates you and it just separates things. The truth is a sword, right? So filter the data that you're getting, real data, real downloads. You have to cut off and unplug from the fake. You have to unplug from the fake stuff. So restore sovereign thinking through direct knowledge acquisition, self-learning, ancient wisdom, and harnessed ethical decentralized tech to enhance consciousness, privacy tools, biofeedback, and regenerative energy. So sovereign thinking is something that humanity has widely forgotten, but sovereign means you own yourself and no one else owns you and no one else can make decisions for you. So that means you have to rely on your own experience. And humanity, the scientific method, like we talked about earlier, slicing things into parts and measuring things, the original science part of it was experience and studying your experiences and having a keen eye to make sure that you're being honest when you analyze your experiences. So there you go. Reintegrate with organic data streams by syncing with raw reality, nature, meditation, and unfiltered experience to recalibrate biological and metaphysical sensors. Everyone knows these hippy dippy people who really are overboard with the meditation and copper shoes and sound bowls and sound baths. I'm not talking shit on any of that, but without the fundamental understanding of natural law, morality, nature, none of this, you can go be in nature all day and still want to go vote afterwards, right? That's most people, is they think they're enlightened because they spend some time in the woods and they talk all hippy dippy and they, do whatever. We all know those people. But guess what? That doesn't reintegrate you with consciousness. It grounds your body. It might help you physically. It might make you feel better. It might boost your mood. But ultimately, you have to reintegrate with the mind above, the thing above you that you are subjected to, the unchanging, infinite, the bornless, the thing that has always been, the undying, bornless breath of God, right? We have to reconnect with that because that's the true source. Nature is a biological grounding tool, but we are nature. We are part of this natural experience. That's not the source, right? Nature is beautiful and we can recharge our bodies and it's a part of us. But the source is consciousness and mind. It's all mental. The universe is mental. So we have to, when you understand where you're going, where you came from, nothing can destroy you. you're aligned with evolution, you let go of the fear matrix. You let go of the fear matrix, and you start to shake off the ability to be coerced and the ability for other people to tell you what to do, and people around you don't like that, because if they're part of the matrix, they don't like what you say because it freaks them out. It really does freak them out. It freaks people out when you start talking about sovereignty. But we have to point up and say, you know what? I know ultimately where I'm going, and I know where I stand on this. So I'm not afraid of being judged by anything down here. Right? Build autonomous human networks, parallel systems, self-sustaining communities while deploying conscious, expanding technology and spiritual sciences to elevate human potential. Jailbreak the economic OS by exiting debt loop algorithms, decentralizing finances, and rejecting scarcity-based control models. Some of this advice could have worded better. Always on a little bit of a crunch around here. Okay. So we need to build real good technology. If you know someone who's like a tech person and they know how to make stuff, send some of my work to them. Send some of the work from the One Great Work Network. Send them, the work of David Icke. Get an ARC drive and share it with them. Get an ARC drive. I'm going to show everyone once again. I should do this every episode.
My soul.
Let's see here. Go back to Grok. Go back to this. Drag that tab over. So everyone should go to What on Earth is Happening. Should first start listening to the podcast, episode 1. Highly recommend. I mean, I would say it's required. I know some people don't understand it. They get annoyed. Some people have attention spans of a goldfish. We all know those people. But if you don't have the attention span of a goldfish and you can listen and relax and open your mind, the What on Earth is Happening podcast, starting at 1, is mind-boggling, principled, detail-oriented ABCs of awakening, and couldn't recommend it more. Go check out the videos. Mark has kick-ass presentations and videos breaking down the occult, demystifying the occult. He has a short documentary you could check out. I know some people are like, "Oh, you're just another guy. You're trying to push Mark Passio." Well, it's like, well, guess what? if I had work that was of this grade, I would be pushing it this hard too. It's like, it doesn't matter who it is. What matters is how accurate the information is, right? The most important thing is the information. It doesn't matter who said it. So go check out Mark's presentations, The Science of Natural Law, Demystifying the Occult, Part 1 and 2, the Natural Law Seminar, Fake Ass Christians. You cannot go wrong. But what brings me here to this page, what everyone should have, is an ARC drive. If this was in every household in America, the planet would be a different place. I'm telling you. So the ARC drive consists of 3,400 video files, 9,500 digital books, and 26,000 audio files. Are you kidding me? Thought that there was a commercial for this, but if you're a researcher, if you're a podcaster, if you're someone who wants to make a difference, download this drive. And what I do is I bring a thumb drive with me when I go to visit relatives, and I load the thumb drive up with a folder for each one of my family members. And if they allow me to, and if I can talk them into it, I put a specific folder that I curated for them on their computer. Or I give them a link to a OneDrive account that has, some of these files uploaded to it. And so I give all my family like a little, whatever their name is, John file or, Stacy file, whatever it is, whatever their name is. I make a file for them and I put information on it and I gift it to them. And, most of the time they don't care. Most people don't care, and they think I'm pushing some stupid belief system onto them, or it's triggering for them. But I mean, when I really try to explain people the Arc Drive, and I show them, and they're standing next to me, and I show them what's on here, they don't have the interface to understand what it is really. It just is in one ear and out there. They're like, that's cool. Like, I don't know what this means, really. Like, they don't say that, but it's written on people's faces. And so the gift of knowledge is so priceless. And at least you can say, mom or dad, brother, sister, cousin, I gave you a folder that has some awesome information on it. And it might help you out in finding out, how you can solve certain problems in your life. It might give you a different way to think about things, right? So everyone should go check out the Arc Drive, follow the instructions, and get one. Consider making a donation to Mark. And go check it out, because the Arc Drive is badass. So this brings us to the end. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you've been hanging out on the One Great Work Network, appreciate you. And for anyone who has just been curiously listening along or following along, I'll see you next time. And let's see if we have any comments. No comments yet. No comments at all. Let's see if we have any comments from Twitter. No comments from Twitter. Okay. So, looking forward to the next episode. We're going to be getting back into, all of the stuff that got us here. Really looking forward to it. We're going to keep chugging along. I'd like to thank everyone at the One Great Work Network who contributes on just anyone who volunteers their time for that. And everyone who, is a part of that, and all of the content creators. Everyone who's watching, consider checking out their work. Please consider visiting my donation links. It really, really would help me out if I got some donations, and any little thing helps supplement my life, because I would like to continue doing this full time and really start, making a big difference. So yes, thank you everyone. Thank you, Grok. Right? Thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you next time, and take care. Take care and stay aware, right? Something like that. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. We'll get a video out, and yep. I'll see you next Friday.